Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the League 2 review. Game week 41, Bradford City go top of the table. Apologies for it not coming out yesterday. There was a fair few sore heads. Having a glance at the League 2 table come 5 o'clock yesterday, it looks pretty nice. It's been over 6,000 days since Bradford City were last top of the league. It's now Monday morning and I'm not really feeling much better. I'm still in my pyjamas. Who cares? Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Oh God, this is going to be rough. We'll start out firstly then with the early kick-off between Cheltenham Town and Doncaster Rovers. Donny winning it late in this one thanks to Jamie Sterry in the 89th minute, and then we also saw Rob Street wrap up the scoring in the 95th minute. Tim Dieng was sent off in the second half for a second bookable offence. Now on the short highlights that's available on YouTube, you can't actually see what the first yellow is for, but I don't think you can have any complaints with the second yellow, clearly late, and the former Bantam clearly didn't do Bradford City many favours with a challenge like that, but Sterry would open the scoring in the 89th minute. Some great play from Luke Molyneux once again down at that left hand side. Another goal contribution for him. He fires the ball at him. Sterry controls it brilliantly on the chest, eventually rifles a shot. It does take a deflection, finds its way into the top corner, and you're just thinking teams get promoted, win late on away at teams who are very good at home. And obviously Rob Street wrapped up the scoring in the 95th minute. Some real nice composure, to be fair. Now I have no doubt he'll be playing regularly in League 1 next season. Will it be for Lincoln? Will he go back to Doncaster on loan? I guess only time will tell. But having a look at the stats from the game, then Doncaster were clearly the better of the two teams, dominated every metric really. More XG, more possession, more shots on target. Cheltenham didn't really lay a glove on Doncaster, just one shot on target. That isn't really ideal. They've had a really poor last couple of weeks, have Cheltenham. As for Doncaster, that really keeps them in the title race now. They haven't lost for quite a while. They win their game in hand. They go up to second in the table, level on points with Port Vale and Bradford. It's really tight at the top of the table. As for Cheltenham, it's 4 straight defeats in a row for them. They've been on some real bad run of form recently. They've not scored as well in their last 4 matches after scoring 3 against Swindon. But yeah, not ideal for Cheltenham at this moment in time. They're really in free fall. They're obviously not going to go down, but you never want to end the season on such a low like what they are doing. Just 1 point in their last possible 15 available, but another massive 3 points for Grant McCann's side. And the other early kickoff on Saturday then saw Port Vale come away from the Bescott Stadium with a brilliant 3-2 win in the 5-goal thriller. Walsall had the ball in the back of the net inside the first 20 seconds or so. Liam Gordon puts the ball into the box. Jamil Matt then challenges, heads the ball into the goal, and from the kind of the replays that I've seen, I do think the foul is very soft. Is the referee going to give that any later on in the game? Is he going to give a foul there in the 95th minute? I'm not 100% sure. I really don't believe it is foul, in all honesty. And then obviously Port Vale go up the other end just a couple of minutes later and open the score. And I think it's a long throw, comes into the box. Eventually it's flicked onto the back post. Lawrence Alai with an absolutely outstanding overhead kick. He really is the dog's bollocks, the bee's knees, whatever you want to call him. He is a top player for this level, and I don't think he'll be in League 2 for much longer. In my personal opinion, I think he'll be in League 1 next season with Port Vale. The Saddlers were then awarded a penalty 3 minutes later. Jayden Stockley adjudged to have committed a handball offence. It definitely does hit his hand. I think with the distance that it's hit him, it's a bit harsh, but it's clearly in an unnatural position, so I don't think Port Vale can really have many complaints. And then Taylor Allen converts, sends Ben Amos the wrong way. 4 minutes later, another long throw comes into the box. Levi Amanche with some great physicality to hold off, I think it was Connor Hall, and then basically just has a tap in 6 yards out. Some great play from the former Bromley man. Ben Garrity would then equalise from a long throw just before half time. Ball comes into the box, flicked on by Lawrence Alai, and Ben Garrity's just free at the back post, rifles it on that weaker left foot into the back of the net, and then Port Vale would be awarded a penalty. Lawrence Alai once again brought down inside the penalty area, and then he would convert, sending Sam Hornby the wrong way. Second half, not really a lot happened. Walsall didn't really create too much. Ben Garrity forced a good save out of Sam Hornby, but another defeat for the Saddlers. In terms of the statistics then for this game, Walsall actually created more XG despite Port Vale having more possession. They had more shots, but Walsall had slightly more shots on target as well. Port Vale nearly scored with every single one of their shots on target. In terms of the league table, it has now seen Walsall fall off of top of the league. When you only win two in 16 matches, you've got no chance staying top of the table. I don't care how far you already are gone. Since they lost away at Bradford City, they have been absolutely awful. Obviously, I think they've not won in their last 9 games whatsoever, which is absolutely awful. As for Port Vale, it's 4 wins in their last 5. Some real good results for them recently, winning away at Crewe, winning at home to Bradford, winning away at Walsall, and they also got the win against Morecambe. Yes, the Barrow defeat was very frustrating for them, but they are I would say in pole position now to win the league title. They are very good at home, they're very good away, and Bradford City's away form is what's going to concern me, and the reason why I don't believe we will win the title at this stage. But as for Walsall, I've been saying it for weeks, if not months now, they will not finish in that top three. Doncaster win their game in hand, suddenly they're not in the top three. They've got the worst form in probably the entire division. If we have a look at the form table over the last 15 matches, they're 21st. Over the last 10 matches, they're also 21st. Over the last 5 matches, they're up at 20th. This is not the form of a team who are wanting to get promotion this season. Absolutely shocking from Walsall. Yes, at times they're not getting the rub of the green, like with the foul by Jamil Matt, but Port Vale, they're grinding out results, they're getting the job done, and this was a massive 3 points for Darren Moore's side. AFC Wimbledon got back to winning ways with a 1-0 win at home to Harrogate Town. If you want to get promoted, you have to be beating Harrogate at home, and they just about got the job done in this one. It took them until the 77th minute to break the deadlock. Some nice play from Foyo down the right hand side. He crosses low into the box, and Alistair Smith was unmarked from about 8 yards out, rolls it into the bottom corner, and that was basically all she wrote, really. Wimbledon had a couple of decent chances in the first half, which were well saved by James Belshaw, who, like I've been saying before, is one of the best goalkeepers in this division. But you look at the stats, it's all Wimbledon in their favour. More XG, more possession, more shots on target, more big chances, more corners, more passes, less yellow cards and all that sort of stuff. So I think it was always going to be a Wimbledon win. Harrogate didn't really lay a glove on them, just 2 shots on target in the entire match. As for the league table, then it does just about keep Wimbledon in them automatic promotion kind of challenging spots, but when you've only won 1 in your last 4, only picked up 5 points out of your last 12 available, that's not the form of a team who's going to finish in that top 3. I do think for teams like Wimbledon and Notts County, it probably is going to be the playoffs. I feel like unless something drastic happens, it is probably going to be a Bradford, Port Vale and Doncaster shootout to win the title, and then the other 2 will just go up automatically, and then the playoffs will be Walsall, Wimbledon, Notts County, and then one of Grimsby, Colchester or Crewe. But I guess there's plenty more twists, there's plenty more turns. Football is never that easy to predict. You're only one crucial injury away from your season derailing, or one player hitting form for your season going on a lot better. As for Harrogate, I'm getting a little bit concerned about them. They are still 9 points above the drop, so I don't think they're going to be in too much trouble, but losing away at Wimbledon, I don't think your season's really going to be defined by that. It's more the performance, the style of play. Frustrating result maybe for the fans who've travelled all the way down there to see just 2 shots on target, but at least they're probably going to survive this season. There's not really much else to say about Harrogate. They're probably going to survive. There's only 5 games to go. I can't see them losing all 5 and Morecambe winning all 5. I don't see that. My team Bradford City got back on track with a brilliant 2-0 victory at home to Crewe Alexandra. They're one of the better away teams in this division, but we opened the scoring after just 11 seconds. I think I'm right in saying our fastest ever EFL goal. Ball gets played long from kickoff, as you always expect. George Lapsley free-header down for Callum Kavanagh. He eventually gets off a shot, hits the post, comes back to him. I don't know if he's gone for a shot again or it's a perfect pinpoint pass to Bobby Poynton, who taps in to the back of the net. His first start in quite a while, actually, since picking up that injury, and he's scored inside 11 seconds, so great for him. Crewe were awarded a penalty just before half-time. Aidan Baldwin adjudged to have committed a handball offence. He definitely does hit his hand. I don't think it's necessarily in an unnatural position. There's a player who's jumped about 2 yards in front of him and missed the ball, so I don't think there's really much that Baldwin can do about it, but it's an absolutely outstanding penalty save from Sam Walker. He's not really been great at saving penalties throughout his time at Bradford City. A lot of the time he has dived the wrong way, but he saved the one at home to Walsall a couple of months ago, and he's now saved this one at home to Crewe as well. It's a really good penalty, to be fair, from the Crewe right back, and brilliant stop from Sam Walker. Crewe did have the ball in the back of the net in the second half. They had a shot which hit the post. It fell back to, I think, either 26 or 28. He takes a shot on. It is going in the back of the net. Omar Bogle is stood offside, and he thinks that, I'm just going to tap this ball into the back of the net. But Bogle is offside, so that goal is then obviously rightfully chalked off by the officials, and then Callum Kavanagh would secure all 3 points for Bradford City in the 85th minute. Some nice play from Jamie Walker. Perfectly executed ball over the top. It wasn't too short, so that Dimitri could head it back towards our penalty area, but it also wasn't long enough so Dimitri could head it back to his own goalkeeper. He kind of just heads it up, allows Callum Kavanagh to have a one-on-one, and he keeps his composure very well. We have seen Kavanagh miss a few of them chances, but he keeps his composure, finishes into the back of the net, and I think he's got around 15 goal contributions now in all competitions. His overall performance sometimes isn't amazing, but he's 21 years of age. It's not always going to be. He's scoring goals again, which is always the most important thing for a striker, and if you look at the stats from the game, we definitely did deserve all all 3 points. Way more XG, slightly less possession, but way more shots on target as well. And Lee Bell's coming out in his post-match and saying we were clearly the better team. You had more possession, Lee. That was about it. The only player that I was really impressed with from a Crewe point of view was the number 30, Tom Lowry in the midfield. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. Apart from that, not really much to be impressed with in that Crewe team. Obviously, Max Conway should have been sent off in the first half. An absolutely terrible challenge on Alex Patterson. Scissors him around the waist 2 seconds after the ball has already gone. It is a dreadful, dreadful challenge, and the referee doesn't even give himself any time to think about it. He's got the yellow card out before he's even blown his whistle. It's an absolutely awful decision from the referee. I thought had another really, really bad game. How many times are we going to have these incompetent officials come to Vale Parade? From Bradford City point of view, I thought Lapsey and Critchlow were pretty poor, but apart from that, everybody else was pretty solid. In terms of the league table, then the Bantams go top for the first time, I think, in 6,042 days. 2008 was the last time Bradford City were top of the League 2 table, and that was only after 6 matches under Stuart McCall in that season. I wasn't even a season ticket holder the last time Bradford City were top of the table. There's still 5 games to go, plenty more twists, plenty more turns. We have obviously Swindon away on Saturday, been very good at home under Ian Holloway, won 4-0 at the weekend as well. As for Crewe, it is just a 1 win in their last 5. The players are slowly slipping away, 4 points away now, and Grimsby have been in pretty consistent form recently as well. So concerning times for Crewe, not sure if they'll quite make it in come the end of the season, but a brilliant win for Graham Alexander's side. After only scoring in 1 of his previous 5 matches, it's nice to see a couple of goals in this one. We need to go away to Swindon, preferably win, but at least take a point out of that game. And then obviously we have Notts County at home. That'll be another tough fixture for us. Like I mentioned, plenty more twists, plenty more turns, as long as we are in League 1 come the 3rd of May, 5 o'clock. I'm not bothered where we finish. Let's just, fingers crossed, it's with a league title as well. But I'll snap your hand off for 3rd at this point. Bromley got back to winning ways in dramatic style as they thumped Accrington Stanley 4-0 at home. Congreve opened the scoring on the 29th minute. Ball falls to him on the edge of the box, takes the shot on and somehow squirms through the arms of Billy Crellin. Bromley were then awarded a penalty in the second half. Their first penalty of the day, I believe, for a handball offence. Cheek took it, Cheek scored it. Crellin did get a hand to it, but he could only push it into the top corner. Thompson would then make it 3 just before the 70th minute mark. Great cross into the box from Grant, and Thompson just had a free header at the back post. 7 minutes later, Bromley were awarded another penalty, I think for handball once again. Cheek this time opened up his body. Crellin guessed the right way, but could not prevent it. Another brace for Michael Cheek. I'd be interested to know how many open play goals does he have so far this season, but you've also got to score your penalties, as Bradford City saw on Tuesday night. In terms of the stats from the game, as you would expect, heavily in Bromley's favour. If Bromley are having more possession against you, then it probably says a lot about Accrington. Bradford couldn't score against Accrington. Since then, they've conceded 8 without reply in their last 2 games. I think they might have scored 1 goal. Over the last 2 games, I think they're on an 8-1 loss on aggregate for Accrington after the 0-0 draw against Bradford City, where we didn't even have a shot on target. But Bromley, way more XG, more possession, more shots on target, 6 big chances, more corners as well. Absolute domination from Andy Woodman's side. In terms of the league table, the playoffs is clearly now too far away for Bromley. 9 points off for them. But if they can finish in the top half, that would be a great first season for them in the EFL. But they don't want to do a Sutton where they're getting in and around the playoffs for a couple of seasons, and then one season they just get the recruitment wrong and then they go down. They need to make sure that they're still bringing in these good young players who they can develop and make better, because there's a lot of experience in that side. But a great win for them. They do seem to be a bit streaky, Bromley. They'll go on a bit of a bad run, then they'll go on a good run, and that's the reason why they are obviously in mid-table. As for Accrington, I thought when they played Bradford City they were absolutely fine, but now a 4-1 defeat at home to Fleetwood and then a 4-0 defeat away at Bromley. They're now firmly dragged back in to this relegation battle. Carlisle get a win and then Morecambe get a win. I still think Accrington will be fine. 6 points is a lot for Morecambe to be making up, but there's 5 games to go. A lot of twists, a lot of terms. Accrington only 3 points picked up out of their last possible 15 available. Morecambe have got 7. Who knows in the final 5 games? Could Accrington maybe drop down into non-league? Carlisle United fought back from 2 goals down at home to pick up a big 3 points against Newport County. The visitors open the scoring on the 26th minute. A shot comes in from Evans, and I do think Gabriel Breeze should be doing a little bit better with it. I know it takes a slight deflection, but I do think it is poor goalkeeping. Just 2 minutes later, Bobby Camber thinks, well, I've already got an assist, I might as well just curl one in the top corner from 40 yards out. It's an absolutely brilliant strike, and not really a lot that Gabriel Breeze can do about that one. 5 minutes later, the hosts would pull a goal back through Georgie Kelly. He actually survived up until the 33rd minute without, I don't know, doing his calf or his hamstring or whatever it is that he can find to pull or tear in his body. He actually scored a couple of goals in this game. Some nice play originally as well from Stephen Wern. The hosts at Wood level just before the hour mark. I think a corner's taken shortly. I think it's Kadeem Harris crosses into the box and Newport just can't clear it. And Georgie Kelly eventually pokes it into the bottom corner. And, you know, at that point, the momentum's with Carlisle. There's pressure building and all that sort of stuff. And Aaron Hayden would eventually score the winner in the 84th minute. Again, it's just a situation where Newport don't clear from a set piece. I think it originally came from Joe Hugel hitting the post, and Aaron Hayden, the former Wrexham man, poked into the bottom corner. In terms of the stats from the game then, way more XG for Carlisle, more possession, more shots, less shots on target, but more big chances and more corner kicks as well. And that is a massive 3 points for them. In terms of Newport, they have been on a bad run of form recently, just 1 point picked up out of their last 4 matches. Obviously not great. As for Carlisle, if they would have not won this game, they would have definitely been down and out. I still think at 8 points with 5 games to go, you probably need to be winning 4 and drawing one of your last 5. They've still got Morecambe to play. I think they've still got Accrington to play as well. So there's a lot that still could be done at Carlisle, but I do think it is a big ask for them at this stage in the season. But nice to see them actually showing a little bit of fight for once. It gives them a little bit of hope going into next season, where they are going to need a massive rebuild, but there's a little bit of quality in this team. It's sprinkled. That quality can be in injury-prone players, but there is some in there, and there's a little bit of spirit. But again, you're against a Newport team who have nothing to play for, really, so the result is largely irrelevant to them. Notts County's very short, unbeaten run came to an end as Colchester got back at 2 winning ways. The only goal of the game was scored by Tyrese Simpson. It's really poor defending, really, from Will Jarvis, but I've been saying this for so long. Stop playing wingers in wing-back, because they can't defend, and it's really poor defending from Will Jarvis. But I don't really blame him. That's not his game. He's been shoehorned into a position that he clearly doesn't play, and he was actually offensively one of Notts County's better players throughout the game. But Thorne eventually robs him. He squares it to Tyrese Simpson. Matty Platt was too busy ball watching to mark his man, and Simpson has a tap in. There was a couple of chances for both sides, either side of that really, but the only stat that really matters is the scoreline, and Colchester did get back to winning ways. You look at possession again, 71% in favour for Notts County, but they've had way less expected goals. Yes, they've had more shots, but both teams only had 1 shot on target throughout the whole match. Colchester didn't really create much, but the chances that they did create were clearly of better quality than those of Notts County. They defended very well at times, did Colchester. Fika Kelleher put in a few decent blocks when Will Jarvis had a couple of shots as well. Nick Cerula probably dived, didn't he, when they could have had a penalty at one stage, I think, in the first half as well. But Notts County, their mini unbeaten run has come to an end. They hadn't conceded in their last 3. It is a disappointing defeat for them, but going away to Colchester and losing isn't the end of the world. Yes, they had been on a pretty bad run of form recently, just 1 point picked up in their previous 3 games, but that gap to the playoffs remains at only 3 points. Cole, you fans, do you think you'll make it in there? I know they had quite a lot of injuries and illnesses for this game, but they still put out a fairly strong team. You know, I think that's more than good enough to be competing with Notts County. Obviously, Jody Jones was back on the bench. He came on as well throughout the game, so that's massive news for Notts County, but a very disappointing defeat for them. Fleetwood had the highs of football on Tuesday. They had the lows of football on Saturday as Swindon won 4-0 with only 3 shots on target in the entire game. The score was opened by Kabongo Shamanga from the penalty spot once again. Has that man ever scored from open play? That is the question that the world wants to know. I think as Harry Smith's running through on goal, the keeper then makes a challenge. I don't think that is a foul, but then I think it's Glatzel. He's cleaned out by obviously Bennett for Fleetwood, and that definitely is a penalty. And then Shamanga, just as he always does, waits for the keeper to drive one way and he just rolls it into the other corner. Freckleton, made it 2 just 2 minutes into the second half. A great cross into the box from Glatzel, and Freckleton just had a tap in from about 2 yards out. The man who gave the penalty away for the first goal would then score an own goal in the 75th minute. Again, it's a great cross into the box, whips into that corridor of uncertainty, and Bennett can then only tap into the bag of his own goal. And then a Fofo ball, I'm not 100% sure. He then made it 4 in the 88th minute. He just beats Brendan Weirdo to a 50-50. Some Fleetwood fans were telling me he's amongst the best 10 centre-halves in the league a couple of weeks ago. Really, really poor, weak defending, and I think his shot then does take a deflection. 4-0 maybe flattered them a little bit. Looking at these statistics, they clearly created more XG, had less possession, less shots, and less shots on target. I can't get over the fact they've scored 4 goals with only 3 shots on target, but that's sometimes the luck that you do get in football. In the end, it's just a dead rubber between 2 teams who will finish in mid-table. Fleetwood's little mini unbeaten run has come to an end. They've been a weird team this season, Fleetwood. They'll have a 0-0 draw against Tranmere, a 4-0 defeat at home to Swindon, but then they'll pump Accrington 4-1 and batter MK Dons 4-2. That's probably the reason, though, why they are in mid-table. As for Swindon, their recent poor run of form has come to an end after back-to-back wins against Wimbledon and now Fleetwood, in the manner they've done it as well. Obviously, 2 goals in stoppage time on Tuesday and then going away from home against a decent-ish side in Fleetwood and sticking 4 past them without reply. It does concern me as we go there on Saturday for the kick-off. But like I mentioned earlier, just a game which probably won't mean too much come the end of the season. Where did Harry Smith play in this game? Was he at centre-half? Was he back up front? This one, he was back up front. It was nice to see him play centre-half on Tuesday. I actually thought he was all right. Grimsby Town got back to winning ways as Morecambe's unbeaten run did come to an end. The scoring was opened by the hosts on the 24th minute. Corner comes into the box. Another assist for Denver Hugh, and it's just basically a free header for Green at the front post. 6 minutes later, Andy Dallas would equalise with a brilliant strike from outside the penalty area. Curls it right into the top corner, but just 3 minutes into the second half, Grimsby would retake the lead. Barrington with a great strike from the edge of the penalty area right into the top corner at the near post, and Green would get his brace to score the second goal, turning provider on this occasion. Low cross comes into the box, and Green just wanted it more than the Morecambe at number 14 as he poked into the back of the net, and that is all she wrote for this game. In terms of the statistics, as you would expect, it was largely dominated by Grimsby. Way more XG, more possession, way more shots on target, and way more big chances as well. Morecambe having 1 shot on target in the entire match. They didn't really lay much of a glove on a Grimsby, and that is a very damaging defeat, you could say, for them. It is 7 points out of the last 5. Obviously, they have recently achieved back-to-back wins and kept 2 clean sheets in that time, but I don't think their season's really going to be defined by losing away at Grimsby. They need to bounce back in their next game. I know they've got Carlisle, I think, coming up next Saturday, so that is obviously a big relegation 6-pointer. As for Grimsby, they needed to win that game. If they would have lost, they would have fallen outside of the playoffs once more, so they've maintained that gap at 3 points, but they're still in the playoffs on a minus goal difference, which I still think is absolutely crazy. Obviously bouncing back after a disappointing defeat away at Crewe on Tuesday. Grimsby, have they been a decent home side this season? Not really, to be fair. Around mid-table, they've lost 8 times at home so far this campaign. They've scored 30, conceded 30, so that is an important win for Grimsby. In terms of Morecambe's away form, one of the worst in the entire division, so that kind of sums them up. Their home form is probably what's going to keep them up if they are to stay up, but they could do with picking up the odd point on the road. Frustrating for Morecambe, but a big win for Grimsby. MK Dons proved to be the embarrassment of the EFL once more as they were thumped 3-0 at home to Barrow AFC. I try to have a quick check. Who is number 32 for MK Dons? Sanders. That might be one of the worst displays I've seen from a centre-half in a long time. The score was opened by Aaron Presley just after the quarter of an hour mark. A great cross into the box from Conor Mahoney, and Sanders just loses his man. Presley then has a tap-in, couple of yards out into the back of the net. The second goal, which he scored just before the hour mark, is again more diabolical defending from MK Dons. Somehow Barrow have a 2-on-1. The ball is eventually played through to Aaron Presley, who converts his 1-on-1 very calmly into the back of the net, and Bradford City loanee Tyler Smith would once again find himself on the score sheet as Ben Whitfield would get yet another assist. He crossed in for Tyler Smith, who would score from just a couple of yards out. Barrow fans, is Tyler Smith a man you want to sign permanently in the summer? He does still have a year left on his contract with Bradford City, but all these goals of scoring are certainly going to up his value because his time at Bradford City didn't really work out. But maybe him going out on loan, scoring all these goals, could he get another chance with a football club in the summer? I certainly don't think he's good enough to play as a singular striker, but he seems to actually be converting a few chances now, which he never really did at Bradford City. Always scored the hard chances and missed the easy ones, but I've seen him recently start to score a couple of them easier chances. In terms of the stats, as you would expect, MK Dons dominated possession despite Barrow creating way more expected goals. MK Dons actually had some shots in this game, 16 shots, 7 on target, 3 big chances, 6 corners. It's not awful. It's a lot better than what it has been recently, where they've had 70% possession, 4 shots, 1 on target. At least they've started shooting. They've had some shots on target as well. Will Stanway made a few decent saves in the goal for Barrow, but they have still been defeated 3-0 at home. Again, it's a result which come the end of the season won't mean all too much. Barrow at one point were in a relegation battle. They're now well clear of that and building for next season. 13 points off the playoffs. They're not going to make it in there this season, but the challenge for them should be to try and finish in the top half. Finish the season as strongly as possible. As for MK Dons, it's 3 straight defeats on the bounce. No win in their last 4. They're on a horrendous run of form, and the quicker they get rid of these players and get a team in, the better, because they've got 11 players. You need a team. You cannot have 11 individuals. You need to build a team, have some people who want to win, a desire to defend, because goodness me, they're an embarrassment. Salford and Gillingham played out a Desmond 2-2 draw in a game which I think, again, come the end of the season, won't really mean all too much. Elliot Nevitt opened the scoring on the second minute, a great ball down the line from Max Clark. Elliot Nevitt then cuts in on that right foot, gets off a shot. I think it does take a massive deflection off of Osama Ashley, but his goal has been accredited to himself. Just 6 minutes later, Salford would level. Some nice play from Ben Woodburn down the right hand side. Cross comes into the box very low, and Cole Stockton drills into the near post. 7 minutes after that, Kelly Namai would turn the game on its head as he picked up the ball and drove at the Gillingham defence, got off a powerful strike and was going away from Glenn Morris to find the bottom corner. But then again, just 9 minutes after that, Romeo Hutton would cut in on his left foot and get off a strike which would find the top corner. After that, not really what happened in the game after such a lively start. I think it's certainly a better point for Gillingham being away from home than it is for Salford City. In terms of the stats, Salford clear the better side in pretty much every single metric. More XG, more possession, more shots on target as well, despite less corner kicks. Gillingham scored with their only 2 shots on target in the entire match, but that's what you're always going to get with Gareth Ainsworth and his style of play. It's not going to be pretty, but it might just about get results. As for Salford, they maintain their unbeaten run, now 7 points off the playoffs, but they do have a game in hand. I think it is against Doncaster, so hopefully for Bradford City's sake, Salford can pick up the 3 points in that one. Gillingham, it's 5 straight draws on the bounce of them. They've certainly put a stop to the rot, but they've still only scored 35 goals so far this campaign, which is still one of the worst in the entire division. I think is that the third worst. Harrogate on 33, Carlisle on 34, then you've got Gillingham up at 35. 5 straight draws on the bounce is certainly looking a lot better than a Cheltenham's recent run of form or an MK Dons, for example, but at least they're not losing. They could just do with starting to win a little bit. So give the fans a bit of confidence going into next season. And finally then, we have the 12:45 kickoff between Tranmere and Chesterfield. I missed that when we were having a look at the Cheltenham and the Walsall games, but the scoring was actually opened in the second half. Chesterfield did actually have a good opportunity at 0-0 in the first half. Originally a good save, I think, from Luke McGee, and then I think it's Ollie Kigbe basically has a tap in and just puts it wide. Open goal, tapping 4 or 5 yards out, and he somehow doesn't find the back of the net. But Tranmere did open the scoring not even 60 seconds into the second half. Ball comes into the box. I think it's Turnbull beats Jamie Grimes to a header. Keeper then for Chesterfield comes out to punch it and then just punched it straight into the path of Cameron Norman. I was going to say Luke Norman, but it's definitely Cameron Norman. Definitely not Fireman Sam. Is his name Norman? There's a Norman in Fireman Sam, isn't there? I haven't just completely made that up. But Cameron Norman has a tap in then. Well, it's not really a tap in. He's like a good 12 yards out, for example. But he drills it into the back of the net. Less of a Fireman Sam chat, because 8 minutes later, Regan Hendry would double the scoring. Jamie Grimes just falls on top of the ball. It falls to Regan Hendry, who just taps it coolly into the back of the net. Then not a lot happened for a little bit. There was a lot of substitutions, but Josh Davison managed to find himself on the score sheet. And goodness me, you must be pretty bad if Josh Davison is going past you. It's terrible goalkeeping, really. He's not even been on the pitch for 10 seconds. Subbed on 85th minute, scored in the 85th minute. Talk about your subs having an impact, and Sam Finlay would complete the scoring at 4 minutes later. He had all the time in the world, really, to pick his spot and toe poke it into the back of the net. In terms of the statistics from the game, then, more XG for Tranmere, less possession, but more shots on target, more big chances, and more corners. Again, possession is a stat which means nothing in football. It's crazy how football works. Chesterfield have been flying recently. I think they'd won 4 and drawn the other one of their last 5 games. Then they go away to Tranmere with 3rd or 4th bottom, whatever they are, and got absolutely pumped 4-0. Hopefully they can now win a bad run of form, and Bradford City can beat them when we play them on Easter Monday in a couple of weeks. As for Tranmere then, talk about finding a way to bounce back after your first defeat under your new manager. Going away to Harrogate, losing in the manner that they did, missing a penalty late on, to then smash an informed Chesterfield side 4-0 at home. You're off of 22nd as well. It's been a long time since they've been away from there. I have to see them being fine come the end of the season. They win the next game. Yes, it might take it's going to take more than a 5-goal swing. It's going to take a 14-goal swing, and then they'd be up to 18th. But it is all about building up for next season. I do think they are going to survive. They're now 7 points above the drop, and it is now a little bit of a mini-league between Carlisle, Morecambe and Accrington at the foot of the table. I still do think it'll be Carlisle and Morecambe who go down, but at least there's a little bit of something to play for now at the bottom end of the table. In terms of who I think is getting promoted, I think the top 3 will definitely be Port Vale, Doncaster and Bradford. I'm not 100% sure on the order. It might be that Port Vale first, Doncaster second, Bradford third. I think the playoffs will be Walsall, Wimbledon, Notts County, and I can't look past Grimsby's consistency. I thought it would be Crewe, then I thought Colchester, but Grimsby certainly been very consistent, but that final playoff spot I do think is certainly up for grabs. Wimbledon and Notts County not consistent enough, despite Jodie Jones recently returning from injury, to make it into that top three, in my opinion. Walsall, they're falling off a cliff completely, and if they're not careful, they might even fall out of the playoffs, which would be the ultimate bottle job. But thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. 100 likes as always would be massively appreciated. Thank you all so much for the support on the channel recently. We could genuinely hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the season, which would be absolutely crazy. So please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already, and get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below on your team's performance, who thinks getting promoted, finishing in the playoffs and getting relegated as well. My head's feeling a little bit better after that, and well, we're now into the afternoon on Monday. I'll see you all very soon for another one.